and welcome to what is a truly beautiful day here in Scotland. It's a very changeable day. One minute it's sunny, the next minute it's snowing, the next minute it's windy. We've got it all today. 4 seasons in one day. But it is truly beautiful and a really immersive experience. And what happened this morning was I headed out to this location that I'm at just now with a friend, and we went for a walk and had a nice catch up. And while I was doing that, I was noticing how beautiful nature looked today. With this changeable weather, we've got so much to photograph, and I just thought I have to come back here this afternoon and really immerse myself in it and get my camera out and do some photography. So that's exactly my plan this afternoon, walking around, looking at all the details in nature here and trying to capture it. And already my senses are being overloaded with what I'm seeing. It is so beautiful. And because all the birds are singing, including the chiff-chaffs, spring has definitely arrived despite the snowy weather, and it's well worth getting out there to embrace. Do you know, this is so interesting. I'm finding at the moment that I'm being really drawn to things that one minute is there and the next minute it's not. These changeable things in nature that are different, you know, that aren't always there. And usually that comes with the changing of light. And as I've mentioned many times, light is of course the fundamental aspect of photography. And right now I'm standing on this kind of a concrete bridge thing going over this stream. And a minute ago there was these beautiful shadows here coming from some of the trees in front of me, and you had these 3 lovely shadowed trees just coming across this piece of concrete. Something which I would never in the past have thought about photographing. It just wouldn't have interested me. But today, walking around, when the sun was out a minute ago, all of these beautiful shadows were really drawing me in, and I just felt so inspired to capture them. And as you can see now, literally I took a photograph and a second later the sun went behind the clouds, and that photograph that was literally here and available to me a minute ago has completely disappeared. And this is what I love so much about getting more interested in abstract photography, because you start noticing these things which you wouldn't have noticed in the past, and you start noticing and understanding more the interaction between light and the environment around you. I just find it so fascinating. Like, I literally came here to talk you through this image I've just shot, and it's gone. It's nowhere to be seen, but I did capture it just in time before the sun went behind the clouds. And yeah, it's incredible. Try and photograph what's not always there, because you never know when it may disappear. Now come a couple of metres further down the path, and there's this little stream here of water that's been collected by all the rain and snow and that we've been having over the past few days. And usually this is something that I would just pass by. You know, it's just literally just a little bit of stagnant water that, you know, has accumulated here. But what I'm realising is that this water, after a few dry days, will be probably completely gone, and the opportunities that this water presents won't be here anymore. So I've noticed actually the real beauty of just taking the time to slow down and really look at things like this, because to many this may just look like a puddle, but within that puddle there are hundreds of photographic opportunities. And the thing that's really captivating me is the beautiful reflections. When the wind dies down for a few seconds and the water goes still, we've got these beautiful reflections within the water. And by changing my focus between the reflections and the leaves underneath the water, it's creating a whole different world of photographic opportunity. And it's just so beautiful. You start seeing aspects of nature that you've never seen before. You know, by being down here, there's all these beautiful yellow flowers that I've never noticed before, and you start looking at the leaves in the water and the patterns within them and trying to understand where they've come from. Oh yeah, and it's a really interesting and mesmerising thing to take the time to look at. You know, when you don't head out there with any specific images in mind and you're just open to anything that comes your way, the opportunities for photographs are endless. And I'm just loving this process now of you know, coming out and realising this. There's literally opportunities everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And it's so beautiful to be able to discover them. of the things I'm loving so much about this process and the images that I'm seeing today is the fact that they are not perfect. There is a lot of imperfections within them, as I guess in many ways there is in nature. I mean, nature, you can't really say there's imperfections, can you? Everything's so beautiful, but when you're trying to do photography in nature, there's always something getting in the way. There's always a twig or a leaf or some clouds in the wrong way, or you've not got the right light, or there's an extra tree that just messes up your composition. It happens all the time. But when you can eliminate the biggest elements of the landscape around you and just focus in on something smaller, while the images may still have things that creep in on them that distract you from your main subject, that becomes less. But today I'm actually finding that those distractions are adding more beauty to my images. So these photographs I've just been capturing here of this stream, my main focus was the reflections of the trees. But underneath that, as I was saying, you've got the leaves and everything underneath it, and you also have some of that nice flowers and that nice colour. And because there are these little pockets of colour within them and little pockets of things going on underneath the water, it gives you even more of an abstract feel, because you're not just photographing the reflections, you're photographing the reflections and how they're interacting with what's going on underneath the water. And by choosing a slightly shallower depth of field, it gives you that blurred effect where these pockets of colour are, and it allows you to try and have those reflections in focus and sharp, which is very difficult, of course, when you're photographing something like this, because the water is constantly moving. And I don't know whether you can see it, but one minute it's very still here, and the next minute we're getting these gusts of wind, and it's making this quite challenging, because today's not a nice still reflection day, but it's also not a crazy stormy day. It's somewhere in between, and it's about taking the time to step back and immerse yourself in it and just allow that water to settle and then capture it, really connecting with that mindfulness element. As I say that, the hailstones have just started again, so I think it's time to take cover, wait for them to stop, and hope for some beautiful light when they do. Just listen to that. It's amazing to be out when the weather changes like this, and just to be able to become aware of how much the sounds of nature change. You know, a few minutes ago I was listening to all the spring birds singing and the chiff-chaffs chirping. I'm feeling really spring-like with the beautiful sun streaming down. And now we're within this moment of all these hailstones falling. The birds have gone completely silent, and you're just getting pelted with these hailstones and listening to them as they're hitting the ground and the trees and the leaves and all the different noises that creates. But as a collective noise, it's almost deafening when you really tune in and listen to it. But it's just beautiful. And it also helps to distract me from this busy main road that I've got behind me here, which again, it looks like I'm in a really nice wilderness place, but I'm not really. I mean, this is a nice country area, but right there behind me is a main road. And it just shows you that just getting off of that main road and coming into somewhere like this, there's literally opportunities everywhere. And I've not even walked that far from the car park. It's incredible. Here's hoping that the clouds part a bit more in a minute, so we can get some more light. Oh, this is not your average April weather, but still well worth getting out to enjoy. Well, the hailstones are still pelting down and I'm getting pretty wet, but it's all part of the excitement, isn't it? It's all part of embracing the elements and just enjoying being out here. But before I leave, one thing I really wanted to do today was to capture these daffodils, but not by just capturing them as they are, but by doing a little bit of intentional camera movements. And my reasoning behind that is last year, when they were just beginning to grow, I did a few ICM style shots, such as this one here. And my intention was always to go back when the daffodils were in full bloom and capture them using ICM again, but to get that beautiful yellow within the shots. And it unfortunately never happened, but here we are again, spring is here again. So I'm going to try it again today, try the whole ICM technique, get that blur of the daffodils and see if I can merge in the beautiful shoots with the yellow colour and see what I can create. So I just want to get a little bit more creative, like I say, before I say goodbye to this location for today. And I definitely think this is an exciting way to do that. So it's time to get the camera settings changed, put that ISO down as low as I can, and yeah, let's see what we can capture. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this. A full-on snow shower in April. It's amazing though, I absolutely love the snow. I've got so many fond memories of being out in the snow. I'm also not dressed appropriately for this weather right now, which is why I'm going to call it a day right now because I'm getting quite cold. But yeah, this has been quite exciting. I literally have just done a little loop around here, the car park just behind me there, around here by this main road, looking for more abstract style images, things that I maybe would have walked past a million times in the past, but now I'm opening my eyes up to them. I'm just embracing every aspect of nature, and if you've never done this, I would highly recommend it because it is so freeing and it opens up so many photographic opportunities, and it just makes it a so much more immersive experience. So the sun's about to come out again, we've got lovely blue skies appearing over there, so yeah. Brilliant though, I thoroughly enjoyed it despite getting soaked to the skin. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Oh, amazing.